Johnson, the Executive Director of Financial and Security Products Association, and thank you for taking your time to join us today. Before we get started, I thought I'd do a little housekeeping. You are muted. You will be throughout the program because it helps us keep the audio clear. We do want to encourage questions and comments, so please use the questions and chat boxes on the broadcast viewer control box. I will be watching this during the presentation, and once Mike has finished his presentation, we will take your questions one by one during the Q&A at the end of the program. Just so you know, we will email the PowerPoint slides from today to everyone who's a registered attendee, who I obviously have your email addresses in that list. And with the newly updated FISPA website, I will be able to upload the webinar recording. So it will be there. I'm not promising I'm going to get it there today because I'm new at this too, but we will have that on the website. And once you log in to the member section, you'll be able to see those. So with that said, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Mike Cowling of Volumatic.
Thanks, BJ. Well, first of all, welcome to everybody, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank you for attending this webinar today. And I'd also like to say a big thank you to BJ for helping to organize it, which is very much appreciated. The title of the presentation, Retail Cash Processing, Where Next, is one which I've given twice this year. This is a slightly modified version. And why are we talking about retail cash processing? Is cash still going to be around in the next 15, 20 years? I think most of us in our industry believe it will be, and I certainly think that a lot of investments being made into retail cash processing equipment, and those companies wouldn't be investing millions of dollars in doing that unless they believe there was a future. First of all, my own background is that I had 15 years in retail POS systems over in Europe, working for market leaders such as NCR, which I'm sure a lot of you are aware of, Omron, again a well-known global name, and Zonal, which is the UK's market leader in hospitality solutions. So all pretty big companies in the point-of-sale system. And I don't really see a big move from point-of-sale to cash processing because in retailing especially, those two areas go very much together. And I've had overall 22 years in cash processing solutions, of which the last 15 years have been in the USA, working with some manufacturers such as Omal, which was a small company making currency scales and also promoting products from people like Magna and De La Rue in the UK. And we sell that business to Volumatic, which is why I'm with Volumatic. And I also work for a distributor for Cashmaster, both of which are heavily into currency scales and retail, but also selling in Europe to banks, and in the US it's always been retailing type solutions. So I'm hoping that those of you who are looking to expand your area of operation from maybe banking to retail might get a lot of interest out of today's presentation. Just some brief facts about cash. Cash is costing US retailers currently $40 billion a year, and that was from a SagePay survey last year. So it's a pretty current figure. And we know from the manufacturers that US banknotes circulating are increasing by approximately 7% year on year. Probably the most surprising factor is that in today's age, 25 million Americans do not have a bank account. And that's a staggering number really when you think about all the technology that's out there today. So I think that those figures alone show that cash isn't going anywhere quickly. The company that I represent, Volumatic, I've just got a couple of slides on who we are. We basically exist to make cash processing more efficient. We are a UK-based company, but we have our business is split between UK and export, and 30% export, which we are looking to expand to 50% over the next 3 or 4 years by growing the export business. Our focus in the USA and North America is purely retail and leisure. Banking is only really relevant to us in Europe. And more often now, our products and solutions are really all about operational efficiency and enhancing security for our retail clients. A figure there that's quite interesting is that we actually count and protect well over $2 billion a day around the world. And if you look at the products along the bottom here, these are the hardware products that we supply in North America, which range from a manual cash box, security box, which has got some unique security features, loss prevention features. Our currency scales here, there are two in the range that are our own products. And then we've got like an intelligent version of the security box, a compact internal security unit that fits under the counter in a retail store, but it does a lot of intelligent cash processing, such as validation, counting, and communicating to the back office. I'll come to that in a little while. So we don't actually sell factored goods into North America. Here are some of the brands that use our products. I'm sure you recognize quite a few of these. One of the recent additions to that list as an approved supplier is McDonald's. We've just become a globally approved supplier to McDonald's for our currency scales, and I'm currently working on a project to expand that approval rating to other solutions that we can offer to them. And there are challenges with a global retailer like McDonald's in languages, currencies, and a whole variety of why one country differs from another, etc. So in terms of the general area of cash handling, traditionally we've got many customers who tell us that from the time the customer gives that bill over to you at the cash register, cash can be touched more than 15 or more times before it actually gets into the customer's bank account. And that makes it a time-consuming and quite a manual process. And reconciliation as well is pretty manual. People do use a variety of tools to try and mechanize the process, such as bill counters, currency scales, a calculator, spreadsheets, but then that involves more and more keying and rekeying of information into the back office. And when you rekey information, you make errors, and finding the errors, it's just one long trail of inefficiency, really, is probably the best way to describe it. Some retailers take a number of methods to overcome the negative sides of all these manual processes. For example, they screen employees to make sure that nobody's going to steal money from them, which is obviously not a scientific process. They have policies in writing, which are sometimes followed quite loosely. They segregate the cash handling duties to try and make sure that people don't team together and steal. They also take regular skims at the point of sale, so that you keep the minimum amount of cash in your drawer. But even that is very hit and miss. Many stores I go to do surveys, the manager, the first thing we'll do is open the cash drawer, and there'll probably be $1,000 in the drawer, which should only be a maximum of $200, and the manager will say, well, I was too busy to take a skim. And another area is CCTV cameras can be used to monitor what people are doing, but again, there's a time-consuming element of looking back through those to see when things went wrong. And in terms of transportation of the cash to the bank, people will vary the method and the person who takes the money, or they may even use armoured carriers, which is secure but expensive. So that's really where the background to cash processing in retail and the kind of issues that crop up time and time again, and why there are major areas where savings and operational efficiencies can be made. So on this next slide, you'll see that we can use a variety of money counters to speed up the time taken to count the cash. And if I take McDonald's as an example, if a McDonald's is counting cash by hand, an average McDonald's who uses a simple cash scale, such as the one here pictured in the bottom left of the picture, they should be able to save a minimum of half an hour a day, 7 days a week, by using a basic cash counting machine, which is a lot of time in the overall scheme of things and gives a fast ROI. However, what happens with that system is that you can count your cash faster, but you literally can't. You can only reach a slamming limit where you can't reduce that time any further, because there's only you can only count so quickly on a machine, like you can only count so quickly with hand. So somehow you've got to try and get this graph going in the opposite direction. So how do we do that? Well, the easy way to do it is not to have to count the cash at all. And so one of the major solutions that we're being very successful with is that we count the cash for deposits at the point of sale, where they get detected for counterfeits, they get counted and put into a small box at the point of sale and stored in a tamper-evident pouch which is inside the secure box. What that basically means is those pouches can go directly to the bank without having to be recounted in the back office, and that means that you eliminate all the errors with counting, you eliminate all the bank discrepancies, you eliminate the time taken to find the errors. So in terms of operational efficiencies, you can really build up a very compelling argument for why retailers should buy into a solution that will save them a lot of time and eliminate errors and make your employees feel safer, which is a big part of this solution. So what retailers are looking to do, they're looking to provide the perfect customer experience. How do they do that? Well, one way is to increase efficiencies. One of our customers said, I can improve my business in two ways. I can either increase sales or I can decrease costs. And we're all about decreasing costs and increasing security. And by doing that, we give the retailer and his employees a lot more time to spend on looking after the customer, managing the store, rather than physically counting cash and looking for errors in where the counts went wrong. And improving security means that your colleagues feel safer when they're actually in the restaurant or the retail store. They feel that they have been looked after by their employer. What alternative solutions are out in the marketplace at the moment? Well, I'll go from the bottom up. I did point out that we have a mechanical cash box solution, which is very good in terms of dual security. It's got a low capital cost, but in terms of efficiency in the back office, while it does present the bills in a nice and neatly flat for counting, they still have to be counted in the back office. There's also a product that you may not have heard of, which is currently quite widely installed in one of our big retailers over in Europe, the intelligent cash drawer. What that does is that weighs the money as you put it into the cash drawer, and when you close the cash drawer, it automatically balances the money in the drawer. It's got a fairly high cash cost because you need one per drawer. It's got a fairly low operating cost, but the problem is that the money can still build up in the drawer, and it means that you still will have to take skims to keep the money to a reasonable level. But what it does do is it does actually keep the balancing. It means that you do balance very, very quickly on your drawers. We then move up to the back office recycler. Sorry, just moving on 1-2 minutes there quickly. I'm just going to go ahead of myself there. We then move on to back office safe or recycler. These have got a high cost, but what this means is that when you do your deposits, you feed the bills into a back office safe. There are various ways you can do that in terms of whether you then remove the money from the safe yourselves to bank it, or whether an armoured carrier is the only one with the access to it, and they will take the money from a cassette away from you. So it's high cost, but it's secure, and it does mean that and it does mean sometimes that you can get provisional credit because the armoured carrier will take on that responsibility, but you're paying a premium for it. Next, moving on to the the till point safe, which is like a sealed container at the point of sale that recycles the money as well. Very high cost, but very high back office efficiency. Very few people have gone for that type of solution because literally the sheer cost of it doesn't give you the return on investment that you need if you're going to spend that kind of investment. We also still see in the marketplace air tubes. All these really do is get the money from one point in the store to another. So they'll take them from the point of sale to the back office, but the money still needs to be counted. It usually comes out crimpled in a tube, and you're still going to need something in the back office to either count the money before you give it to the bank or the armoured carrier. And then our type of solution, the Counter Cash Intelligence, is a small compact unit that fits at the point of sale. We classify it as medium cost. And the great thing about this product is that it is a deposit-only system, but it means that when the money is inserted into it at the point of sale, it means that you are keeping the money in your drawer to a minimum, so you've got the efficiency in your drawer. It also means that your back office efficiency is very high, because the deposits can go straight to the bank without having to be recounted. And we've got customers in North America where 98% of their sales are being fed into our box and never having to be recounted again. All they have to count is the small amount of cash that they keep in the drawer for their starting bank or change fund. So those are the main typical solutions that are out there in the market at the moment on a general basis. One of our partners up in Canada has produced a piece of software called WebSafe. So this is just one option that can be used, where they store the data on the internet. They do have, if you like, local reporting capability in the store should the internet go down. But what it means is that someone who's got 5, 10, 100, 1,000 stores can have real-time knowledge of all the cash that's currently in the store, because they also balance the drawers through that system as well. So the kind of people that are using this system now in North America are A&W, you can see there on the left, McDonald's, Tim Hortons have got about 60 stores now using it, and they're just about to put the first North American stores installed as well with that system. We also have KFC using it in Europe and Subway. And you can see the boxes installed under the counter, very neat and unobtrusive, so they don't really attract the attention of the professional robber, because the bad guys tend to get attracted by the big boxes that they know can store maybe $250,000. They don't really get attracted by a box that maybe stores $8,000, and so the people that will try and steal it may well be your own employees, but the way the system works is that if they do try and steal, it's the fear of getting caught that prevents them from doing that typically. So how this particular solution works, and we have got other variations of back office software, because while we've got a very good peripheral here with what we call the CCI, Counter Cash Intelligence, it's really the solution on the back of it which is what sells it to the major retailers, because it's the information you're getting out of the system and the security aspects and the elimination of errors. Those are all the kinds of areas that really appeal to the retailers. So cash is received at the point of sale. The bills go directly into our box at the point of sale, and they can be fed in any one of 4 different directions. It's a one bill at a time situation, but it works for the vast majority of retailers. The only areas where it won't work are for applications where typically people are coming to the cash register with $1,000 in $20 bills, which could happen in somewhere like a Costco or a wholesale application. So we don't really see ourselves as being in that particular market, but definitely in most retail outlets this will work absolutely fine. We've got over 20,000 installations, so we know it works very well. The coins and the bills are then taken to the office from the drawer for processing, and you can monitor and track all of this information on the internet to get a cash flow report for your whole operation. And then typically to the bank, you would either hand carry it or you'd give it to the armoured carrier, depending on what your own operation works like. What we find is that in the States there are a lot of people using armoured carriers, although there are still quite a few franchisees that will take the money to the bank by hand. The nice thing by using our system is that the pouches that we use are very unobtrusive, so it doesn't look like you're actually taking anything out the store when you go out the store. And then the bank will process it. And one of the interesting things that I found recently is that historically, if the bank said that your account was wrong, they would typically debit your account and say, hang on, you're $400 out, we're going to debit your account. And you didn't really have a means of querying that. It was kind of take it or leave it. We've had about 4 or 5 instances recently where the bank has said to customers that are using our solution, your account was wrong, and our customers have given them an audit trail showing exactly what bills were in that pouch, and the bank has recredited the account because the bank admitted that they could have made the mistake, whereas we know we couldn't have made the mistake. So what are the benefits to the retailer? Well, first of all, decreasing labour costs. because all the bills are getting counted and verified automatically at the point of sale. So here are 3 comments from customers that we've got globally. Tim Hortons in Canada that's got about 4 systems installed, reducing cash handling time. Subway owner in Europe who's got 6 stores, saving 30 minutes a day, 7 days a week across all of his 6 stores. And Morrison Supermarkets in the UK, our biggest customer with 11,000 units, 1 on every checkout, they reckon in the first year of using the system they saved $8 million in labour costs. That was because in their environment they were able to eliminate, or rather redeploy, a cash office supervisor from each of 500 stores because they weren't needing to count the money anymore. Excuse me. Customer engagement. This is really important for the retailers. The more time they can have with their managers out in the store managing and looking after customers, it does increase the sales. It also means that many franchisees have said, if I'm in the back office counting money, I have no idea what's going on in the front because people do things that they shouldn't be doing. So visibility again for the manager. And it also frees up time to devote to more positive jobs than counting cash, which is usually seen as a fairly mundane, has to be done, but not really a productive job. And 4 or 5 weeks ago, Universal Studios in Hollywood, where I've got a lot of these units installed, their Treasure Vault manager said that using our pouch is one of the best things they've ever done at the park. And what they do is they send all their pouches to the Bank of America, who then just verify what they already know they've sent, and that saves a lot of time counting on site because the theme parks use a lot of cash, and if they can get away without having to count most of that cash, it saves a lot of time and cuts out all these errors. And deterring theft. Well, we can provide an audit trail of all the cash transactions that we've done, so we can eliminate cash shortages to a really small figure. And that again is a big incentive to the loss prevention team at retailers. And getting more money to the bank. So we know that when the money is secured at the point of sale, it makes the reconciliation a lot easier because every secured bill is validated and goes to the deposit. And the ideal factor for a lot of our franchise customers who've got numerous stores, some have got 1, some have got 100, because they've got visibility of all the cash across their estate and detailed management reporting, they don't have to visit every store to get that information and see where the problems are occurring. They can look on their laptops or their iPads or iPhones, and they can query what's happening by just picking up the phone and calling the store and saying, why didn't you balance the cash at 4 o'clock when you should have done, or stuff like that. And it really kind of gives a powerful improvement to the management capabilities for guys who've got other things to concentrate on. So this is my take on the future of cash management in retail. First of all, I've no doubt there will continue to be a market for the large cash recyclers that some of you probably already market and maybe even make in back offices. And those are typically for the likes of the Costco's and some of the big store retailers who may well decide to go for the back office cash recyclers. Secondly, there will also be continue to be a huge market for small deposit solutions such as the one that I've discussed, because this offers an affordable solution to the retailers who either can't afford a smart safe or have nowhere to put it. For example, Subways have got limited space, or they need a solution that will provide a cost-effective validation, security at the point of sale, and what I call one-time tamper-evident cash processing for all the deposits that are given all the way to the bank, all the bills. Where I think that the next generation will be coming in, and we're looking at this ourselves, typically in the next 2 or 3 years, is that cash recyclers will become smaller, more efficient, and less expensive. And as that eventually happens, there will come a a point where a lot of people will then start to take a look at that to actually install these at the point of sale. And I think that my gut feeling is that in about 3 years' time, that technology will start to take a larger share of the market in about 3 years' time and onwards. And obviously, as I say, that's something that we're looking at ourselves as a company going forward. So what we basically look at is a consultative approach to retailers. We're not about selling boxes. It's not about that anymore. The retailers appreciate you surveying their cash processes. So we do a lot of going around stores, looking at installation, looking at stores, and finding out where the trail of money goes from the moment the customer gives the money to the cashier to the moment it leaves the store. And following that, what we call a cash audit, we can offer solutions, sometimes running a test or a pilot. When I say we, I'm talking about either ourselves or our distributors or a collaboration. And the pilot can involve any one of a mix of our solutions. It could be the currency scales, which can be linked to back offices. It could be cash security boxes, or it could be our intelligence solutions. So we really don't go in with any fixed ideas on what will solve that retailer's issues. It's a flexible approach. So we can work with partners on software. So some of our distributors have got their own software which we can hook our box into. One of the key factors to me in the success of being in this industry, and this is what I've learned over many, many years in retail, is that whatever you're selling to the retailers, to the stores, you've got to think about the people that are going to be using the solution, make sure it's simple, and also, even if it is simple, make sure the training from the management level at head office to the people at the stores that are going to be using it is covered in a very thorough way, because training is key and important to the success of any solution and rollout in retail. And one of the reasons why I'm really giving this webinar, obviously, is partly to hopefully educate people on what's involved in retail and what cash processing, but also to say we have got a small number of distributors, but we are looking for 1 or 2 more. We basically some of our distributors that we've had previously are not as dedicated to retail as we would like, and others really haven't put. There is an element of commitment required in terms of learning about the market and learning about the solutions that we offer, and that does involve some initial commitment before you really get to the point where you can say we are really going in a big way with this solution. I would give you an example of one of our distributors who I started to work with 5 years ago when I first came back to Volumatic. He's our Canadian distributor. He started developing his software at that point, and from doing 0 business with him 5 years ago, he's now our leading North American distributor, and that's primarily by what he's doing in Canada. He's now also selling our currency scales as well as the intelligent solutions. So that's really, I'm hoping I've given you a flavour for and a bit of the, and I also hope that I've shown that I'm still excited and really enthusiastic about this industry, because it's something that I've been working for many, many years, and I'm really excited about the innovation that's going on in cash processing at the moment, because there are big opportunities out there, and we really want to get our share of that increasing success, and we're looking for 1 or 2 extra partners to be able to do that. So I'd like to really say who's got the first question following my presentation.
We do have one question here. It says, you state these as recyclers. Can cash be withdrawn at any time?
Right, okay. The products that we sell at the moment are purely for deposits, so they are deposit solutions, not recyclers. I did mention recyclers, but that's not actually our own solution. I mentioned recyclers as being one of the solutions out in the marketplace. They tend to be large boxes, and if I can give 2 examples, I think, is one is one of the FSPA members that we work with on our solution, which is Bridgman Security or who sell a product called Mimo, make a product called Mimo. That's what I call a recycler, money in, money out. What we offer is a deposit system.
Okay. The next question is, do you have a tool to help us do a comprehensive cash flow audit, a form, a spreadsheet format? What questions we should ask?
Yes, we do. We do have a cash audit tool, which is in an Excel spreadsheet type form, which I'd be happy to share with whoever's asked the question. Yeah. Okay.
The next question is, would you be sending additional information and literature to the attendees? I think the answer to that is yes. We will absolutely get you the PowerPoint slides, and then if you either email me or Mike, we'll send you additional information. How many bills can be placed in a pouch?
That's a great question. We've got two different sizes of pouch now. The original standard pouch, which is still widely used, holds about just under 500 bills. The larger capacity, we have a larger capacity pouch, which also means that we have a slightly deeper cabinet on the product itself to hold that bigger pouch, and that one holds at least 900 bills. And the reason why we brought the larger pouch out initially was primarily for the gas station industry, because what we found in gas stations is that, let's say you've got 3 registers in a store, it tends to be that register 1 does about 90% of the, takes about 90% of the money, because that's the one that's on all the time, and they only tend to bring on registers 2 and 3 if things get really busy. So we have had, you know, we did find that to be a requirement, and we brought that in. Yeah.
Okay. The next question is, what is the typical sales cycle for a CCI sale?
That can vary dramatically. I think the shortest cycle, I would say, normally, and it depends on whether it's a big customer or a small customer, because a small customer can typically make a faster decision. If it's a big customer, I can give several examples, but one, for example, our biggest customer over in Europe, Morrison's, they trialed the system for a year in one store, in a big store, and it was about another 6 months before we got the major order for 11,000 units. In NBC Universal over in California, I personally looked after that one. So that one was a situation where we put 1 unit in on trial for a week because they'd seen the equipment at a show and just wanted to prove that the concept would work for them. And from there, that was the following April, so that was 4 months before we got our first order from there. So they trialed it for a week, and since then we've sold. We're just putting another 16 units in there, so they've got about they'll have about 65 CCI units on their park for the admission kiosks, the parking, and the carnival areas where they have outdoor games. But it can vary from the guy with Subway who put 6 stores in. He wanted a trial for 30 days in one of his stores, and he cancelled the trial after 3 days and signed the order for 6 stores because he was so convinced. So it can happen quickly, but more realistically, I would say you're looking at 6 months.
Okay, next question. How do you respond to those who feel the use of cash is diminishing?
Really, first of all, in some areas it's diminishing very slowly. I would say that just because you know, we know that cash in general is not diminishing very quickly at all. Otherwise, the banknote circulation wouldn't be going up. What we're finding is that cash is still used for is predominantly used for small purchases, $20 typically. Of that nature, so in quick service restaurants you can say it's going to be around for a long time. There are certain retailers, I will admit, who are way ahead of the game in terms of using non-cash media than others. and one classic one is Starbucks, and they've really heavily promoted their store cards over many years, and online, and the touch phones, and you name it, they've got every kind of payment solution out there. But if I tell you that we just got an order last week from Staples in Canada, who only use 10% of their sales are cash, and yet they just bought 144 replacement currency scales because they say that the problems they've got with coins in the drawer and counting those coins on its own makes it viable to invest in our technology. So they're not actually going for the more sophisticated product there, they've gone for the currency scales. But in terms of the games at, for example, Universal, the Carnival games, it's $3 per go, all cash, and those games take about $2,000 a day each. So there's a number of different ways we can provide documentary evidence that says cash is not going away. Yes, it might be slightly declining in some areas, and yes, it's declined in probably, for example, I wouldn't go trying to sell our products to a jewelry store chain, although ironically we have just sold to a jewelry store chain in Holland, but that wouldn't be my first port of call. But what I'm saying is there are certain markets that are still heavily predominantly cash, and other markets that have gone more to credit and debit cards.
Okay. One of the questions is, one of the reasons we stay away from retail is because of our work schedule of Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. Can you talk about the service commitment that is required to support your products for a retail environment?
Yes, certainly. Well, we support our products. Some of our distributors don't do their own service. Some do. And the service that we provide, where we're asked to do it on behalf of our distributors, etc., is it's typically Monday to Friday store hours, but that goes from sort of, when I say that, it covers the three time zones, so West Coast to East Coast. So our depot, actually, we're very lucky in that the depot that we use as a third party, they are open 7 days a week, so they do actually answer the phone 7 days a week. But we don't offer that to our retailers as a service. It's just that they happen to be getting a bonus from that point of view because our depot handles a lot of other products. And the great thing about our solutions is that if you think about a currency scale, if a currency scale goes down, what are you going to do? You're going to revert to counting by hand. Yes, it's going to be annoying, but it's not going to be life-threatening. It doesn't mean to say you're not shutting your business down because basically you've got to count your money by hand for maybe a day. Likewise, with our intelligent solutions, which typically are on each point of sale, if one of those goes down, what's the option? The option is that, and by the way, this is, with that particular product, it's very, very rare. The option is that you can either keep spare validator heads somewhere where you can overnight them, which we can do that. So the worst case is you're out of action on one machine overnight. In actual fact, with Universal, I haven't been able to convince them to actually take out a service contract because they've had 24 units in store for over a year, and in that time they only had one engineer call, and that engineer call wasn't really necessary. It was just that we sent someone out because as a PR exercise more than anything. So so the level is not, it's not like a point of sale system where you've got to be operating 7 days a week, because if your point of sale system goes down, you can't serve customers. The backup to our intelligent solution is, it means that you're going to be putting more money in your drawer than you should be, but if you've got other CCI units in the store, you can always feed those into another unit. So it's not as critical as you might expect. And I certainly wouldn't be put off from looking at the industry from that point, for that particular point of view.
Okay. The next question is, what are the price points for these smart safes?
That's a great question. The product that we offer retails from about $2,800 up to about $3,000, depending on what options you take on each unit. I think we don't call ours a smart safe, we call it intelligent secure box for cash processing, but the smart safes that we compete with tend to start at around about the $8,000 to $10,000 mark.
Okay. The next question is respect to the sale of scales. Is fast food your predominant market, or is there some other silo like grocery or the low dollar stores?
Well, yeah, I mean a whole spread of supermarkets, convenience stores, quick service chains. We do. I mean, believe it or not, we also there's a chain of hair salons called Ulta, which is the biggest one in the USA. They use our scales in every store, so I wouldn't really like to buttonhole it as being just those other industries, but certainly big ones for us are supermarkets, C-stores, gas stations, quick serve restaurants, all the quick serve restaurant chains. They're all kind of target markets for our distributors, and the questionnaire was very right there that the dollar stores are very big as well. I mean, we know that Dollar General use scales. Sadly, not ours at the moment, but we're always looking to increase our market share. But the dollar stores are definitely another area. Anyone that takes cash that can save time and eliminate errors is a prospect. But those are definitely target markets. Yeah.
All right. Next question: who is the acceptor manufacturer? Counterfeit device manufacturer?
Yeah, the detector that we use in our product is JCM, which stands for Japan Cash Machine. They're very big in the gaming industry, I believe, over in Vegas and places like that. So their validators are they're one of the world's leaders, competing with MEI, which is the Mars validator. So those are the two probably big players in the world market, I think.
All right. Next question: is the safe designed to be bolted down? Is there any base that you can install to raise it up when you need it?
Yes, there is. It comes standard with a bracket that goes under the counter. However, some people build it into the counters, and we've also done if you like, special modifications for different customers. So we do have a freestanding plinth that it sits on top of, which we've actually sold to people like Tesco's in the UK, which is a big retailer. NBC have got a few of those, and we've also sold them to one or two franchisees with McDonald's, because their counters weren't designed for, in some cases, for drilling through. So the main thing is that you've got to make it secure so that somebody doesn't steal it.
Okay. Almost a related question: what is the size of the units? And then a question about, are they ADA compliant for the U.S.?
The first question on the size, they're about 6 inches wide by 12 inches front to back and 12 inches high. On the second question, ADA, we do have compliance on that. I think it also relates to being UL approved as well. So we have got all the approvals that allow us to sell into North America. Yeah.
Okay. The next question is: can you remove the validators to clean the heads, as that is the most common complaint?
That is an excellent question. I'm really pleased to get that one, because it's one of the major advantages of our unit, is that, and one of the reasons why I had problems convincing Universal to take a service contract out, is that the whole validator unit can be taken out by the manager without having access to the cache, and can be swapped out. And when you swap it out, it doesn't need any initialization. The system automatically recognizes that you've swapped the head and just carries on working as before. So what it means is that 99% of any issues can be cleared by the manager, the store manager, without having any security issues, and we can overnight a replacement, and the warranty or our partners can do that, and basically the other one gets taken back for repair.
All right, next question: will this accommodate the daily credit, advanced credit transmittal?
Sorry, just writing something down. Yeah, at the moment, well, two answers to that question. First of all, it won't give provisional credit for what's in the CCI at the point of sale. This is with our system. We are working with one or two banks, such as Fifth Third Bank, who have assured us that if, for example, the pouch that comes out of our unit is put into a secure, safe type box within the store, which could contain a number of pouches even for the week, which might only be accessible to the armoured carrier, for example, that you choose to use, they would be prepared to give provisional credit for that solution. We're also working on enhancing that idea by using a scanner to scan the pouches into a back office safe or box, so that you can prove that the pouches were scanned into the safe and therefore were actually present in the box. So you can't get provisional credit for something that's at the front end in a box that's not classified as a safe. But once the pouches have been put into a safe in the back office, then it is possible to get provisional credit.
And we do have a note from Paul Gordon at SoCal Safe that on their program they have made their own boxes to protect from theft at Sweetie Pies, and he can send photos to anyone that's interested.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks for that. That's great. I've seen those boxes. They're very good.
Another question, are there any plans for upping to a bulk note acceptor versus a single note?
That's one of the things on our wish list, is the way I can put it. We obviously have we've got a development program. It's not infinite, so we can't do everything at once, but certainly a bulk feeder is something that is in the top, I would say, the top 4 items for ongoing development, and I know that my colleagues in technical are looking at that kind of possibility on an ongoing basis. Whether it's still a JCM validator, I'm not 100% sure. So, but we're actually assessing what's on the market at the moment to see where we go with that. So it is something that will be coming, but I realistically I don't think it'll be coming within the next. It could be more than a year away. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Next question, does the price include the web dashboard? Does the unit have a iPhone or type of smartphone app?
Those applications are something that are coming along, and I'd say that we're probably, again, timescales. We have got a web dashboard that is, I would guess, end of January would be my best guess at the moment on where we are on that. Because we have got one piece of software called CashView, which is based in the store. We've got another piece of software that our partner in Canada did, which is theirs effectively. So they have got a web-based cash management solution, and then we've got a web-enabled version of our own software, which is being field tested at the moment with a couple of retailers over in Europe. So it will be coming, but it could be another month or so before it's actually ready.
All right. Here's the next question. Have you had any resistance from the banks for counting the mixed money in the pouches?
Strangely enough, absolutely none whatsoever. We've that was always a concern of mine 4 or 5 years ago before we really got going. But in the USA, we've had no resistance that I'm aware of. 2 of our biggest customers use, one uses Wells Fargo, and no problems there. And Universal uses Bank of America, no problems there. And we've just got another customer using Bank of America in Connecticut, which is obviously, although it's the same bank, it's different branches and stuff. So, and they've had no problems either at all. I think the thing is that nearly every bank nowadays has got what we call discriminators, which enable them to count mixed bills. So they're not that. Yeah, it might have been a problem 5 years ago when maybe not all of them had these machines, but realistically they have those machines because sometimes if a customer pays money in, there might be an odd bill, a wrong denomination in the pile anyway. So they have to use that kind of equipment to sift them out. So it doesn't really it suits us, because obviously it means that they've got the technology to do it, which means that mixed bills aren't a problem, or certainly haven't been. And
next question.
Sorry, the armoured carriers have also got that technology.
Can they buy an extended warranty?
Yes, we can sell extended warranties to our customers. In actual fact, with our currency scales, they come with a 3 or 5 year warranty anyway, and the CCI typically comes with a 12-month warranty, and we have negotiated extended warranties, certainly of 2 years, with some of our big customers, and there's no reason why that couldn't be negotiated with smaller customers. I know that our Canadian distributor has devised a leasing package which is available to anybody. Can obviously put those together, a 5-year leasing package where basically the customer buys service for 5 years as part of the package, but he bills that into the costs. And the great thing from his perspective is that he gets paid 5 years maintenance up front, which is good.
Question from Paul at SoCal Safe. Mike, have you tried to have the CCI unit work with Bluetooth, or do you find it best to hardwire each unit?
We have, well, Bluetooth is available as an option on. We've got a Bluetooth option on the CCI unit, and it's not something that a lot of our bigger customers tend to favour. And I don't understand the technicalities of this, but because of the reason that Bluetooth is not seen as being as secure as other means of wireless communications by IT people, and I don't know the reasons why for that. But we do have, hardwire is never an issue, as long as the wiring is obviously done professionally, and we also can offer Wi-Fi as an alternative to hardwired by using a dongle at the back of each machine. But for those smaller customers probably who might want to use Bluetooth, we can use Bluetooth technology to link. That is an option.
All right, and there is a question here about providing all the questions and answers. Because we've not been typing the answers to the questions, I can provide a list of questions, but in order to get through the questions and the answers, they will be part of the recorded webinar. We are still recording and still live, so the questions and answers will be part of the webinar.
Great, that's great. Thanks, BJ.
And I think that's it. And if anybody else has got a question, send it now. I have one more. Can you tell us more about the internet software and how it works?
Yeah, sure. As I said, we have got different solutions available, some of which are ours and some of which aren't. But the web-based software that we're developing is designed to, if you like, manage a population of our boxes over the internet. And what it means is that if say you've got 10 stores, for example, and you've got our boxes installed at every store, provided they're linked up to in the store on a network, then the owner of the business or whoever he wants to have access can, by using password and user password and control, can go on the internet to view the contents of either any machine or any range of machines that are within his in his store network. So, for example, if one loss prevention manager was only responsible for 3 stores, he could have access to see what money was in each particular unit. It'll also give you the capability to update the units on the head software over the internet. So, for example, if the Fed came out with a new $100 bill, and that obviously has to be downloaded to the heads, you could do that through that piece of software as well. So it allows you to manage the units as well as interrogate them. It also will allow you to remotely see what issues have been happening. So, and it's very good from a fault diagnosis point of view as well. We can actually use that link to dial in over the net and do fault diagnosis on a particular box, which is great. It saves a lot of engineering issues by having that capability, and it also allows the customer, if they wanted to analyze things like when is the machine being switched off. It can send text alerts or emails to the manager or the user to say this box was opened or this box was switched off at a particular time in day, and you can do that by exception. So the manager might say, if a pouch is emptied after 10 o'clock at night, I want, if it's taken out, I want to know, because no pouches should be taken out between 10 o'clock at night and 5 in the morning. So that could send a text alert or an email to the manager to say that things are happening that shouldn't be happening. So it's really a control and reporting package over the internet for all the bills for deposit that are in our units. What it doesn't do is it's not a full cash reconciliation package that will balance the registers. That is actually something that the guys in Canada with their WebSafe product have done. So they've got a solution that allows the manager to key in the value for how much was in register 1 and including what was in the drawer. We don't actually look after what's in the drawer at the moment. So I'm just trying to give an overview there of what it actually is capable of.
Do you have the ability to notify the carrier for pickup via email?
I'll have to come back on that one. Not that I'm aware of, but certainly not in our CashView 2 software. But I will come back, if that's okay, I'll come back to you via you on that one, BJ.
Okay. Mike from SoCal is, Paul from SoCal is asking, does the internet software still manage 10 CCI units?
Well, on one particular location, yes, it will. Yeah.
Okay. And also, do you have any idea what the charge would be for the extended warranty?
As a broad-based what we normally look at is a service contract would typically cost. The units come with a 12-month warranty anyway. After the 12 months, we would typically look at a 10% per annum of the capital equipment cost. Very similar to what the guideline is in point of sale systems. So something of that ilk.
Okay. Can the safe be set to open at certain hours?
Not at the moment, no, can't. It hasn't got a timed timed switch on it for that.
Okay. Does it have an error code log?
Yes, it does. It has a full error log, and including, for example, if a bill has been rejected, if somebody tries to put a bill in that's maybe a counterfeit or a damaged bill and it gets rejected, then the machine will even report on that. So it does have a very and also if the machine's powered on and off, it will report on that. So it has comprehensive reporting on events that would be called suspicious, I guess.
Does it actually notify the customer or just maintain it in the error log?
On the web-based version that will be coming out, as I said, towards the end of January, that will be available to be emailed or SMS texted to the customer.
Okay. All right, that is the end of the questions that I have. If anybody else has one, I'll give you a minute to hit that enter key, but it looks like we're done. I do want to thank everyone for your time today, and let me know if there's any other subjects you'd like to see us cover in the future. We will be emailing you the presentation slides from today, and as I promised, we will have this webinar up on the FSPA website. And Mike will also get the list of names and email addresses, and you can follow up with him as well. So thank you very much for your time. It looks like that's all the questions we have. So thank you, everybody, very much for today.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody as well, and thank you, BJ, for helping to organise this. I really appreciate that, and look forward to meeting one or two of you, in the months and years to come. Thank you.
So, all right, thank you, everybody, for your time today. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.